Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I have not set out the cards in advance. We're going to do everything on screen. Just taking a moment to continue to smudge as everybody is coming in. Have a nice seat, settle your energies, and ask for that highest guidance to come through for today. Solar plexus chakra flipping in the deck right off the bat. So that could be a creative insight, the need or the wish to have that. It came out sideways for whatever reason. It's the use of our willpower and our creative essence. Now we have tantric journey, and that one flipped. And then as I threw it out, it went out somewhat skewed to the inverted, reversed position. So that's interesting. For whatever reason, we're taking them in that manner today. I do things differently. If you've been watching, you've probably noticed this. There's not a real concrete way that things are done. And that's just the way it goes. We have a bunch flipping out, so let's take those and see what else we need after that. Under the deck is number 44, master number 44, universal love. So for me, the number 44 has to do with the support from the divine, the angels, spirit guides, guardians, ancestors, whatever you believe in. And it can even be beyond that, just that the essence of love and the thread that we're all connected, that unity consciousness that's been a theme in some of the more recent readings. It's being guided to, I want to say, sink deeply into that, into the, it's like a buffering, like a real fluffy, feathery bed and maybe comforter and pillow. It's very fluffy nest, comfy in that way. That's the feeling of universal love instead of the sitting on pins and needles, as the saying sometimes goes, when somebody is sitting in tension, anxiety, resistance, all of the senses peaked and in hypervigilance mode. So in universal love, there's a sense of trust that we don't need to stand guard 100% of the time, that we can trust that we are safe, protected, provided for. Not sure where that tangent is going. This is just how it goes. I don't know why there's so many disclaimers today. Let's see. Gaia, fertility and throat chakra. So prior to going live, so to speak, today, I was really thinking about the discussion of the Lion's Gate, which is coming up in short order to this reading. Although all readings are meant to be timeless, you may be seeing this later. The Lion's Gate comes up annually, and every year it's said that the fixed signs are sort of the gatekeepers that open the threshold for the Lion's Gate to open. And this imagery was coming across as those of us that have really heavy fixed signs or fixed essence in our cosmic soul blueprint, our astrology makeup, whatever the tools are that you have to really get into your personality and your earthly identity in this learning process. We can see that those that have very fixed energy are not easily moved. And so that's why I feel like these are good gatekeeper energies. And I feel like the way that the image was looking is that those individuals that have that energy heavy in their chart are the ones that are very solid in some type of a faith, some type of a trust. Even if you have, let's say, trust issues with other individuals, you can still have faith that things will be corrected, so to speak, on the other side, or that there's some type of checks and balances, or some people even think about things in terms of reward and punishment, or or karma that could be delved out later. Now, even if you don't believe in all of that, I feel like those fixed energies are coming in with something that they thoroughly believe in. And so this ability to stand true in that authority of that belief structure helps each one of those individuals, even if they're vastly different in their beliefs that they're holding. Even two people, individuals, entities that seem to hold opposing beliefs, if both individuals are in that fixed energy, then they're both holding the urge for humanity's evolution towards a certain endpoint. I'm not sure how to place that in different terms, but it's coming through as that the rest of the individuals who aren't associated with that fixed energy, so to speak, are then coming across this energy, feeling it, thinking it, interpreting it. And this then is bringing everyone collectively, this universal love force energy that's flowing through us all, to then somewhat either pick sides, pick ideologies, choose for our own individuated resonance. And it helps other individuals recognize the power of their choice and how they are choosing to activate their will, that creative use of their life force, love force energy that flows through them. And this being this inverted tantric journey here, it's talking to me a bit more about the awakening process, where if we have the solar plexus on its side and the tantric journey in reverse, this to me talks about those individuals that have become creatively active in creating things based on things such as ego and fear complexes and so on in that regard. And so these people may be more prominently characterized by stepping quite precariously here on my words so as not to offend anyone, but honestly, the tantric journey in reverse is the inversion of the healthy projected, and then becomes the projection of the shadow. I think that that's kind of an encapsulation of the essence of where I'm going. So these individuals, instead of being, for instance, the base chakra, the first chakra, creating our connection to the earth, which we have Gaia here, right? And the way that we are fertile or not, the way that we sink our roots deeply into what is and take up sustenance, nourishment from everything, all energies, and all of this, the water, the food, the air we breathe, and so on. And then the psychology and the situations that we immerse ourselves in, when individuals become kind of misguided, and instead of being worried about everybody thriving, they start to, instead of cooperation, they start to be in competition with each other. Like there's not enough resources. It's a poverty consciousness on that end versus the abundance consciousness. And we can all throw around these taglines like, oh, abundance. There's that silly commercial that's coming up, practicing gratitude and whatever else. And there's a lot of stereotypes on the woke folk, but I mean, quite honestly, these things are great practices, but are we just talking about them and idealizing about them, or are we really bringing it into the system so that we're really believing there is enough for us? We do believe and trust that we don't need to necessarily be in hypervigilance. And when situations arise in our personal life that place us back into that feeling of either captivity, victimization, poverty consciousness, scarcity, there's not enough for you, or you're not good enough for this, or you shouldn't try for these goals and dreams, you should just play small. All of those energies are really being invited to be looked at in more creative, co-creative ways, and to outgrow all that toxicity, and to help to inspire other individuals that maybe are a little lost, maybe out there looking for guidance, looking for somebody shiny, sparkly, confident, and courageous, somebody who appears to be powerful and in their personal authority and authenticity, somebody who is a unique individual who stands for something, right? And this is where we get the division of, do we really believe what this person's standing for, or we just idolize the idea of power and authority? Because anybody can be a false authority and a false idol, but what do we really stand for, and what do we align with? And I feel like that's why those fixed energies come up to open the gate, so that the rest of us can say, well, I'm not going to go through this gate over here because that looks like division. It looks like infighting and competition, and there's not enough for me. I've got to step on people. Versus if I take this gateway over here, that this person is really standing for something else. And I apologize if this comes through as any of the hot topics out in the ethers these days, but I think that that is just the sign of the times. It's not even specific to my country. These things are happening on global scales, and so on, especially at the Lion's Gate. This is the cosmic identity. It's surpassing the veil of illusion of earthly resources, and there are limitations in the physics of the earth. However, just because there's a limit doesn't mean there's not enough. You don't need 15 bowls of chili for one individual at a soup kitchen. That individual, one bowl, right? And I know that's kind of a far reaching, but I hope that you get the meaning. It's like, we don't need to, for instance, drill up all this oil. Maybe I'm getting into some other issues, and that isn't even the real issue here at hand. I think that it's not talking about politics. What's trying to be shown is that, yes, Gaia has her own limitations, but it's always enough for the growth. It's always enough for the needy, but it's not enough for the greedy. And with that negatively spinning solar plexus will center, there's always someone or something to demonize, or to victimize, and somebody to point at as the oppressor, and the above and the below. The hierarchical thinking model is really on its way out, but it's going to take a long time. And so here we're being asked to use our throat chakra to really speak greater love into the world, I believe, to create a growth mindset based on the earth, and to stand for those things in our own personal life, even when we could look at, instead of on the world and the resources of Gaia, we can look at resources of self. Just because you have certain limits and boundaries does not mean that you're not open. And if you're open to everything, it doesn't mean that that's actually the best. I mean, sometimes we need to limit. We need to, such as when somebody's saying you're not good enough for this opportunity type of thing, we choose for that as well. So this can be happening in multiple areas of life. I believe that these gatekeepers are also the ones that are, whether they're the forerunners or the rumble in the bleachers, to just kind of give you an image, it could be the vibration of energy coming from the group. It could be somebody who just whispers a seed in one or three people's ears, and then those people move on from there. It's like there is the need for change being spoken, being thought, being felt at the heart level, at the willpower level, and the rumble that's coming through is the need for change, and it's the undeniable evidence that's manifesting from the below that shows the top of the tower, that without the support and stability of the all, the top will ultimately crumble. So I'm sure there's a lot in there for various people. I'm not going to try to pull that apart anymore. Let's get some of these Return to Spirit cards. Voice just flipped over here. Yeah, the vocal cords. Changes in voice too coming through. There could be a lot of chakra upgrades, and part of this is, I think, us recognizing what truths and lies are swirling around in the ethers, and which things that we actually contribute to for good and bad that kind of come through us. And then as we maybe speak or think, then all of a sudden we are catching ourselves and rethinking and recatching and challenging our own beliefs or challenging the beliefs of others in some type of a way here, which hopefully in many situations is going to create dialogue between opposing viewpoints in a more synergistic, cooperative manner. So based on everything that's coming out of my mouth, I'm feeling some conflict energy arising. But here we have prayers, and with voice and throat chakra and all of these things coming forward, praying is a way that we can see meditation, we can see mantra, personal affirmations that everything in this world may appear to be in flux, in chaos, but that does not mean that it's not in perfect order. I trust the process. I speak to the highest, and I trust the highest. Prayer is also visioning, thinking about the self, speaking to the highest in yourself, and even in friends, family, frenemies, enemies. When we live our life as a prayer, that's an idea of, there is enough for me. There will be enough, even when money is scarce and there's no more corners to cut, and there's no more favors to call in. There's still indicated there the extreme need for change. And and that would be a whole topic unto itself, but there's always options. And if you don't see the options, generally, at least here in this country, I'm aware that there's many programs if one wanted to take the option of getting assistance. There's also trying to shift the inside, and then hoping that the outside, praying that the outside takes shape from that. I am successful. I am highly skilled. People would be lucky to have me on their workforce. Or, I've got a lot of great ideas. And if I could do anything, I would do fill in the blank. You might have that innovative mind. Okay, there goes my voice. You may have that innovative mind that is ready to take flight in some way. You may be what someone is waiting for. But this is not really a reading about that specifically. So let's just keep going and see where this flows. Let's get something on that tantric journey and solar plexus chakra. The creative use of energy here. I want that one. Right. This one has been coming through quite a bit since I got this deck in general. So writing things down, writing some type of memoirs, journaling, especially for those of us who are energy workers or trying to clue into our own symbolic language and develop our psychic mediumship and otherwise our own skills. It can really help to have an affirming journal where things are written and recorded. If you need to dwell on something that may take you into the more negative, maybe you need a separate journal to just unload and dump into, and maybe set that aside, but keep that one journal with things that are showing you what's next. And maybe if your thing is personal health and well-being, writing things such as when you go to bed, when you wake up, how you feel upon sleeping and waking, what types of emotions or dreams came through, if you can recall that, and just kind of trying every day, no judgments. And then eventually you'll remember more and more and more, and things will start to come together. What cravings do you have? What types of, are you bored? Are you unmotivated? Are you hyper? Are you feeling creative? Do you wish that you had more time? Just a couple little entries, and that type of journaling can lead to something being unlocked, because the more that we practice the voice, the better. And an extension of the voice and of the throat chakra of our truth and our beliefs is absolutely the things that we write down, because that is when vibration starts to take up material form, because we are actually writing it into characters and spelling the letters and working the magical tantra through the vessel and out into the reality. Oh, underneath the deck, mediumship. Let's take a few more here. Fearless. I love it when fearless comes up with mediumship. Don't they look like they belong? Like this is almost angel wings, crown on royalty. This one looks to me like both a butterfly as well as the pelvic bone. And so to me it goes well with talking about Gaia, tantric journey, and then this butterfly in the pelvic bone is like being able to transmute and transform the energy of the root from that pelvic region, maybe even some more chakra, sacral and the solar plexus, those first three lower chakras that are really the formulating blocks of experience that lead upward into the higher chakras objectives. It's like being able to transform that butterfly transformation from lower to higher. And the heart is kind of the central. And then we move into the higher, which we have that throat. So heart, throat, and then the third eye and the crown all coming through here. It's the ability for us to be clear and proper channels to pull that above and to pull Mother Gaia in to unified universal love force energy. It's all very dependent on how we root into Gaia and how we anchor into spirit and how we integrate and kind of sculpt, mold the clay of that. So fearless. There's some type of transformation happening for us while we sleep, I'm seeing. Maybe some of us are doing some astral travel, meeting soul tribe, doing some soul contract renegotiation during our sleep. Do you see the individual here? Like their head is here, shoulders, and then this light here coming down through. That 44 universal love and these angel wings is kind of giving me the imagery that during this sleep, we're being guided, guarded, in the comfort, that nest, that cushy bed that we were talking about, with the trust and being embraced by the universal love force energy here, watched over during our sleeps, guided and led into something that is a form of our own transformative mediumship capacity. And so writing down things and getting into the dreams, no matter how random they may seem, can really help to just pull the subconscious, pull those old latent codes that we haven't quite digested and integrated yet, put them into form. And yeah, let's move on. Right order. I just talked about that. Yes, things are in very good order in your own personal life. This may be a highly chaotic, confusing time in your own life where you're facing extreme change and really trying to take in all of the clues and evidence and all of your choices in new directions surfacing. To me, this is all of those factors coming to your attention, almost competing for time in your head. Like, think about me, look at me, hey, you haven't taken out the trash today. And it's like your brain will become overwhelmed and shut down in that way. And I think we know what happens next. Lack of coping, less ability to be conscious and fully awake and aware of everything that we are really doing and wanting in our lives. There's something definitely about the desire nature here. I want to split that, and we have divinity, mediumship, and what's that? That birthing card keeps coming through, and contact. So birthing and contact below this, and divinity here. Yeah, so we're being reminded that everything is in good order, but there's something coming through, some new way of being that is surfacing, that need for change. And maybe this is something that we are also needing to make contact with somebody or some type of entity, whether that's to get some type of approval for a loan or to make a big move or get a different job or so on. There's a need for us to maybe make a list of people that we need to contact or especially like if money is the thing or needing some medical thing, then you need to maybe make a list of all of the things that you need to research, all the things that you need to ask questions about. You need to maybe follow up or seek for this and this and this. Need to make 10 million calls and record everything. Some type of a logbook. I almost had a little buzz in the ear and it started to go away there. Let's get a few more about some of the background influences, hopefully helping us to make some big changes in the life. Out of this deck, we keep getting a lot of the Ascended Master cards and the Angel cards. It's an interesting deck, but I think that we're all on this channel in some way facing some upgraded insights, some more guidance, and coming more online with that ability to understand both our own divinity and the workings of the miracles in our lives. Uriel and the Sphinx under the deck, and let's see what fell. 2 cards. On track. And 3 of Roses is loving elementals here with that cute little delighted baby and the elementals speaking to the baby. Interesting there. And this one was the One of Scrolls. So there can be a move, a shift, somebody going away on business or packing up and leaving a job or catching a train in some other way, a new train of thought, going from one group association into another. Could even be like some type of condo association, some type of change or shift in the everyday, or it's talking about that commute time for some of us. I'm getting a little pressure here now, whatever that might mean. Seems to be, this to me is the pressure in the sinus, which seems to be related to the third eye for me. So some type of intuitive nudge about how to get your confusing, overwhelming circumstance back on track is somehow, maybe you've got to make a presentation. He's got some scrolls and a briefcase and, saying goodbye to one area and here goes nothing, and going out and making that presentation, having all of your documentation in order. I don't know if anybody's in a legal dispute or legal something here. Going back to school, it could be to get the essential tools and skills that you need to do this next thing. And with loving elementals, it's about the ability to celebrate and to see all the abundance that is. And Uriel and the Sphinx, talking about the riddles and the confusing parts of life that are all around us. We're at the end of the broadcast, and I feel like I haven't really tapped into a really clear message, except for the fact that we're all dealing with some type of confusion in order to understand and clarify why these changes are necessary. And I feel because we are needing to get something back on track for our personal mission, our personal identity, and going from there. Many Hands of the Goddess 17 is really confirmation that you can accomplish great things with faith and trust, and by invoking and inviting the universe, others, systems, and enterprises to support you. But it's almost like the active part is of using the throat and the voice, which came out here, to creatively ask and inspire others to our cause. And to then from that point we have Weave the Future Golden. Each one of those threads of us advocating for the self is then weaving our future into being. So if we have any of those inklings, we need to get everything written out, get it organized, get ready, put on our thinking cap, and get our phone calls and make our contacts and get out there and hit the streets, it looks like. So this great change has been said to be something great. See it as an adventure. Let's get one more oracle card before we close out here. All right, that one's the one. Let your personality shine. 32. You have something no one else has that makes you who you are. Stop comparing yourself to others and allow your uniqueness to shine through. And underneath the deck here, we have disengage from outcomes. Let go so that you can open yourself to the highest love that you deserve. Find ways to release worry or any unresolved lack of forgiveness that you may be holding on to. So yes, with universal love as our main theme and Uriel and the Sphinx, we don't need to understand it. Just trust the process. It's not wasted time. It's time learning and honing our point of attraction so that we can be even more powerful at attracting everything that we deserve. And it's coming in for us in short order. So it's everything's about to get back on track, and you are well supported and loved. All right, so take good care of yourself and check out the other messages if you're inspired. Otherwise, until next time, take care.